Okay, so I would like to welcome Steve Agyei to Community Spirit Easing. This is a great honour to have you here, to be able to speak with you about your life and your business. So to give an introduction to our viewers about who you are, I just wanted to read out your 30-year career. It really is like this is your life. So you've trained at the highest levels to become a classical ballet dancer, choreographer, personal trainer, yoga teacher, football coach, cricket coach, bar teacher, author, and motivational speaker. You've performed with Mariah Carey, the Spice Girls, and Sting. You've danced around the world, from the Royal Opera House in Vienna to Japan. You've trained Cherie Blair and Tony Blair, Emma Bunton, Louis Spence. You've choreographed Beyoncé, David Beckham, and Jennifer Lopez, and coached Chelsea and Brighton and Hove Albion football clubs. Your first book was Celebrity Training Secrets. Your second book is Fit at 50. You're now the proud owner of Elysium, which you are developing to become the world's leading global luxury lifestyle fitness and wellbeing brand. So welcome to Community Spirit, Steve.
Good morning, Richard.
As I say, it's a great honour to be interviewing you.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what makes a successful coach?
I believe a successful coach is someone who maximizes other people's full potential, helps them achieve their goals, and makes them find the best, makes them the best possible version of themselves they can be, whether that be in sport, life, performance, dance, fitness, business, in every area.
So it is interesting because out of all that list of what I just read out there, I'm always curious how doors open, and it's interesting to see that you've worked with the likes of David Beckham and Cherie Blair. So can you just tell me how that came about and how you ended up working with them and what the experience was like?
Yeah, they're sort of quite random people, David Beckham and Cherie Blair, sort of different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
David Beckham, sort of our paths crossed through business with Adidas and Pepsi, and socially through Spice Girls, because I was Emma Bunton's personal trainer. So I'd see him at concerts and gigs, and then I used to choreograph the global conferences and marketing launches for Adidas. So I first worked with him when we were doing, he had a number 7 range for Adidas of sportswear clothing. So I had to stage him and choreograph dancers. And then for Pepsi in Madrid, the first time was they did a Galactico sort of commercial with Roman gladiators. So that was with the Real Madrid team, people like Roberto Carlos. And the next time I got to working, which was amazing, was with Jennifer Lopez and Beyoncé, and it's like a martial arts film. It's for the Spanish market. So if you YouTube Pepsi with David Beckham, J-Lo and Beyoncé, and that's an amazing experience. But funny enough, the first time I ever met him was at Scary Spice's first wedding. She's had a few. She married a dancer called Jimmy Golza, who I used to dance with for G-Star. And I ended up being at the wedding behind Posh and Bex. So I didn't actually really know him at that stage, but yeah, I just found myself next to him at the wedding, which was quite amusing.
Right. Okay.
And so yeah, I've probably got to know him like for 10, 20 years, and every time you meet him, he's so polite and so nice. He always makes you feel really at ease.
Yeah.
Because obviously everyone's like, wow, it's David Beckham, and he goes like, oh hi, how you doing, sort of thing. It's great to see you, blah blah blah. So he makes you feel comfortable straight away. And then Cherie Blair, that was more of a random way, because when I became a personal trainer, one of the first places I worked at was a club called Holmes Place. And there was a trainer called Carol Kaplan, who was she was an advisor and sort of trainer to the Blairs when they first got into Downing Street. And she was sort of the centerpiece at this club that I worked at, and she used to wear very revealing clothes, and the trainers sort of didn't really like what she was doing, and there was a lot of complaints from members. So the manager of Holmes Place was a guy called David Cooper, who went on to form Gym Box, which is a big chain of gyms in London. He asked me, because I had a dance background and she had a dance background, he said, would I go and sort of study her methods? So I started asking her questions and asking her to show me how she did things. And she'd do things like, there's a position in dance called second position, a plie. So I'd do that because obviously I was a ballet dancer, so that was quite easy for me to do. And a lot of her stuff was dance related. So she was like, oh my God, finally someone that gets what I'm doing at Home Place. So she said, I'm going to ask the management if you can work for me, which I don't think is what they had intended. But anyway, she went and asked them. And then on my first day of working for her, I came into Holmes Place early in the morning, and then suddenly she introduced me to Cherie Blair, and then she suddenly went, oh, Aj, I've got to run off and do anything. Will you train Cherie? So I was just thrown in at the deep end and had to train. Like, I literally just met her, didn't know anything about her, trained her. And that used to happen a lot with Carol in her role as a sort of, I'd say, fashion consultant for the Blairs, for want of a better word. And then from that, I ended up training the Blairs, the children. So they asked me to go to Downing Street, and then I ended up training Tony. And over 20 years, I've probably trained all of the family, and I'd like to say I've become a family friend, and likewise she has with me. And so it was like, as I say, it was as random. There was nothing planned.
Yeah, well, I am curious though, because I mean, have you heard of synchronicity?
Yes.
Yeah. So is that something that you believe in, or?
Yeah, because I would say all through my life, everything seems. I'd like to think I'm planning things now, but in the past,
that's your ego talking.
Yeah, in the past, I've never really planned anything, and things just fall into place. I seem to be in the right time, right place at the right time. But then you've got to have the right skills to be able to utilize those opportunities.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing, because you've become an expert in so many different fields, and you've got a personality, a really sort of open, good personality that it seems to be synchronizing with everything that you're doing.
Yeah, no, I think it's very, very true. I always say I'm blessed, and that the universe, as you say, things seem to align, and when everything aligns, it all seems to work.
Absolutely.
But there's lots of times when they don't align, and there's been a lot of things when it hasn't worked as well. So yin and yang, as we say.
Absolutely. So I'm also curious that working with the rich and famous, I mean, is there a lot of pressure, involved, in that, and
yeah, because
how do you cope with it?
There is and there isn't. So in terms of, I don't think it is the actual people themselves. There's no pressure with them.
Okay.
It's everything that goes around them. So, for instance, with the Blairs, getting into Downing Street for starters. You've got to walk up to the gate. There's crowds of people. You go to the policeman. You tell them your name. They open the gate. Then you have to walk up the road that is actually Downing Street, and then there's all paparazzi there taking pictures of you. And you can hear all the clicks, so you're a bit self-conscious then, and you have to knock.
I can imagine.
You knock on the door, then you knock on the number 10, and it sort of mysteriously opens as you arrive, and you go in. So before you even go to train, that's quite an ordeal.
Right.
And then let's say the only person I've really got nervous with is Tony Blair, because he was Prime Minister, and it was the way everyone else treated him. It's like, I can't remember the actual name they call him, but they've sort of got a word,
Right.
or like the boss or whatever. They have to say
Yeah.
something. So you have all this thing of everyone seems to be in awe of this person, and then you've got to go in there and tell them, do another 10 press-ups, or you're doing this wrong, or you're doing that. And they're people that are used to everyone else doing what they say.
Yeah.
So that puts a bit of pressure. But then I'd find you do a bit of reverse psychology, because most of those people are very driven. So then you say, well, if you're a bit tired, if you're feeling it, we'll just go down to a lighter weight, or I can slow the machine down, I think. And if you say that, I found with the more driven people, they're like, no, I want to do another,
Right.
so
Yes. Yeah.
you can work like that. And then the other things that is pressure, I think, for, it's not so much for me, but for the clients, is female clients.
Mm-hmm.
They're always, if they've had a baby, for instance, when I was working with Emma, and it was to do the tour, she just had a baby, and she's got to get back in shape to do the Spice Girls tour. And then the paparazzi will be hiding outside the house trying to take pictures of her not looking good, or if you're on holiday in a bikini, they're always trying to find that cellulite picture. So there's a lot of pressure on the person to, on them to look good.
Right.
And obviously, if you're the trainer and your client's not looking good, that's not good. So those are the sort of, and then the other thing with, especially with the Blairs, and so we used to train when I was at Downing Street. We used to go for runs in St James Park, which comes with security issues of you then have to let the police know what the armed police, what time you were going for the run, because you had to have 3 armed policemen with you in plain clothes, and there'd be one behind you, one in front, and one at the side, but they don't look like they're with you. And then to the side, there's a car, an armed car that has to be with them at all times. So that's a different type of pressure, and the fear of, if you're running with them and someone's going to take a pot shot, you're going to get it. So those are sort of a couple of examples. There's a lot more to it than just the training. But at the end of the day, the actual people, they're real people. And I think one of my biggest skills is not so much my knowledge, because loads of trainers know as much, if not more than me. It's my ability to get on with people and make them feel relaxed. And I try and make it fun. I try and, Emma Bunton she always used to say, when we're doing cardio, it's getting a bit boring, she'd say, I'll just ask you about your love life, and then the 20 minutes will just fly by. So it's those sort of things which they don't teach you at personal training.
So that's your unique talent then. So I also wanted to ask that I'd noticed that through your career you went from being a personal trainer, where you really focused on the physical development of people, and then you've moved into an area where you're being a coach and a consultant, and you're helping people with their physical development and their spiritual development now. So I'm curious, when did this shift happen, and how did it happen, and why it happened, and it's interesting.
It's a little bit related to what we just said about the interesting love life.
Okay, this gets very interesting.
In 2006, I sort of had a particularly painful breakup with a girlfriend of 12 years, and then I went into another relationship, and it was all very messy, and so I was in a pretty bad place. So I went. One of my clients actually said that I should go and see a counsellor, and she actually said you should go and see a psychic counsellor. So I went to see a psychic counsellor, who then recommended I go and see a cognitive behavioural therapist. I did, and I did that I used to go twice a week, and I did it for years. And I discovered that, you know, from being an adult and leaving uni and becoming a ballet dancer and dancer, I just focused on my physical side. And
Okay.
then suddenly I was, as we said before, you need a coach. So now it was like, well, you need to train your mind and you need a coach to help you train the mind the same way you train the body.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and I actually formed a business called Beyond Lifestyle in Primrose Hill, which was working with counsellors and life coaches as well as personal trainers. So we were, you know, trying to get rid of the stigma of going to a counsellor or a therapist, and it's all part of training this whole body. And at the same time, I discovered yoga at that same period of time, within a sort of 6-month period. And after doing 4 yoga classes, I ended up going, because I'd split up with the girlfriend, so I had nothing, you know, it was the first Christmas in 12, 13 years that I wasn't staying at her family house. So I ended up going to Goa on a yoga retreat. And
always a nice place to go.
yeah, and that was amazing. I went on a 2-week yoga retreat with a teacher called Lara Bauman, and then while I was there, I decided to go on a teacher training course for yoga for myself, not because I wanted to be a teacher. And then I ended up having a relationship with her assistant, who was a yoga teacher.
Oh,
national agent.
Let the love flow. Let the love
flow. Let the love flow. And so for 2 years, we were traveling around the world on the sort of fashion circuit, London, Paris and New York. And at the same time, she was an experienced yogi, been doing about 12 to 15 years already. So she knew all the best teachers to go to. So she, you know, I was learning straight away off the best teachers in the world. And I just immersed myself in it for 2 years. And then when I became a teacher trainer, soon I had more clients doing yoga than I did personal training, and I found I got more out of doing yoga with people than I did training, because it got into the spiritual side. That's the mind, body, and soul. Whereas training, it's just pretty much physical. Back then, and then that's how my whole philosophy sort of evolved. With I'm taking bits and pieces from all those different, you know, different areas, and put them together. And I've always said, when you're training, like, even if I'm training someone every day, I've got them for 1 hour a day, which means they can mess up for 23 hours of the day that I haven't got control of that. But if you can control someone's, you know, not control, that's like a bit NLP, but if you can sort of guide someone mentally and in the mind, that has a greater impact, because that lasts for the whole day, not just for the hour you're training.
Right.
So that's where my philosophy sort of started, I would say.
So actually, you're having a very positive influence on that person.
If you can affect their thoughts to have positive thoughts as opposed to negative thoughts, then that's massive. That's like you're getting into the secret territory and all that sort of. And we can choose what we think. We can, you know, we can choose to have negative thoughts or positive thoughts. The glass is half full or half empty. The same situation, you can look at it in two different ways. It's up to you.
Totally, because if you think, like, they say that 80% of our thoughts are negative, you know, and it is amazing how you can have one situation, but if you go into the negative side of it, you get a completely different perspective of what's happened if you're in the positive and if you can stay present.
And if you go into sport, and this is where tapping into the different things, if you think of sport, you know, you have to have a positive mindset, whether it's a golfer taking that putt to win the Masters, or I use as an example, if you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, when he takes a penalty in the last minute of a World Cup or a championship, you know he's going to score, and everything about him, he just looks confident. He stands in a confidence pose. He takes 3 big deep breaths before he takes it, hitches his shorts up. He knows the whole world is watching him. And in his head, he's got, I'm going to put the ball in the top corner. And he's just rehearsed it in his head over and over and over again. And technically he knows what to do.
Yeah.
As opposed to England always used to be terrible at penalties and always lose against the Germans because the Germans had a better mindset. But Gareth Southgate's come in and changed that mindset. So you can 100% change the way you think. It's your choice.
Okay, so you've also set up your own business. It's called Elysium, Be Your Personal Best. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes, actually, it's sort of 2 businesses under one umbrella, and the umbrella is Elysium. So we've got Elysium Clubs and Personal Best Coaching. So Elysium Clubs is a next generation members club focusing on life balance, fitness and well-being, a haven for high net worth individuals. And then we have Personal Best Coaching, which is my own coaching system, which teaches people how to be your personal best in every aspect of your life and business.
So where are the clubs set up? And
so we've got Elysium Chowns Mead, which we're in the middle of raising £15 million for that to launch it this time next year. So Elysium Chowns Mead is in Sussex, and then Elysium Fitness Boutiques are the fitness side of Elysium, and they will be in a 50-mile radius from Sussex, so the sort of south part of London, more borough of Kensington and Surrey and Sussex. And the first one is planned for Kings Road next April. We're just negotiating at the moment. So the fitness boutique will just be a bar studio, yoga studio, Pilates studio, spinning studio, and what we call a hip factory, which is boxing and calisthenics with treatments, and a fuel bar. And then the Elysium Members Club, which is in the country, so it's got restaurants, bars, 12 boutique guest rooms, 20 acres, tennis courts, swimming pool, spa. So that's a members club with fitness facilities for the locals. And then at weekends, we run retreats for people from London to, it's a 50-mile, about 45 miles hour to get from London to get away for the weekend and recharge your batteries.
Sounds fantastic. I think I'll have to do a follow-up interview with you and come in person next year.
Yeah, that's I've been working on Elysium for about 6 years, and it's all based around my own philosophies on on training and lifestyle. And I suppose in a way I created it a place where I could work, where I could get up early, do yoga and train people, have meetings, have all the right food for myself, massage, and just be able to do everything from one place. So
that's the coaching system of Be Your Best, or that's what's
So the Elysium way is the sort of philosophy, and the Personal Best Coaching is a the basis of that philosophy. And not only will we be I coach people in the Personal Best Coaching system, and all the staff will be coached like that, and members can get that coaching, but everything will be revolved around how can someone be their personal best in every aspect of their life. And Elysium actually it's Greek, and there's the Elysian Fields in Elysium, and it was the place where the gods went to after they've done their heroic acts. It's where they went to rejuvenate and refresh their bodies and their minds before doing more incredible acts.
Wow. Okay, that sounds absolutely amazing. Okay. So it sounds absolutely great. I'm really looking forward to seeing this manifestation come into reality, you know.
And as I say, yeah, it's taken 6 years to get to here, and
Mhm.
you know, I've got to raise £15 million, which isn't easy in the
Yeah,
current climate with Brexit and Donald Trump doing his best to mess the world up
right, yeah, yes.
with his
So,
false news, fake news, should I say?
so I'm just curious, just like how do you keep going against, because you must be getting a lot of negative stuff coming in, and how do you keep yourself focused to get
I
this?
suppose I think we had the conversation a little bit earlier about you have a choice of how you look at life or look at things. You can either be positive, you can see the same situation, you can be positive or negative.
Mm-hmm.
And I choose to always be positive. I surround myself with positive people. I tend not to actually watch the news much because most of the news is negative. And
Mm-hmm.
I always know what's going on, but I try to, yeah, I don't want to listen to Donald Trump speak because that's gonna make me feel not good,
Right.
and you know the things that are going on. So I choose to, you know, I don't have negative people around me, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm very clear in my goals and my vision, and that's what gets me up every day. I get up at 4:30 every morning. There's no one telling me what time I need to get up. I get up and you know, first thing I do is meditate, take one of my dogs for breakfast, and then I start work at 5 o'clock. And I get most of my magic time is, I'd say, between 5 and 7.
Yeah.
And I send emails at 7, and then at 7:30 I do yoga, and then at 9 o'clock I take my dogs for a walk, and I do a bit more business stuff. And lunchtime I eat. 2 o'clock I'll have a snooze. 3 till 5 I'll do some more work. 5 till 6 I'll work out, have a little bit of stretch, and then have dinner at 7. And then 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock, that's my relaxing time when I'll watch sport or detective thrillers. That's my release. And then 10 o'clock I'm in bed.
So you're in
So
bed by 10. Okay.
I need to know. And yeah, and that 10, and if I'm getting up at 4:30,
Yeah, yeah.
meaning I'm getting 6.5 hours sleep, but I get an hour between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock, which takes me to 7.5 hours, because you have to have 7.5 to 9 hours sleep a day,
Right.
because to be at your maximum, there's
Okay.
3% of the population that can live on less than 7.5 to 9 hours. But
Right.
anyone else that says they can, that hasn't got that genetic gene, they're not performing at their maximum. And again, in sport, they measure your sleep and all that sort of thing, because
Okay.
obviously they need their players to be at the maximum. So yeah, my life is there, and I know my goals, and I know I need to work every single day to achieve what I want to achieve, because I've got massive goals.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And no one's going to tell me I can't do them, because they used to tell me I can't be. When I started doing ballet at 19, they told me I couldn't be a ballet dancer because I've only just started. And then they were like, you know, black people can't do this and you can't do that. And I just never accepted no as an answer.
Okay. That's the spirit. Like, okay, so the theme of this month's issue is inner peace.
Yeah.
And I understand that one of the things that you're now doing is a 1-minute meditation. So
Yeah.
so can you just tell me why you decided to do that, and how people can get involved?
So the 1 minute meditation came around by I've been meditating myself for 12 to 13 years every day.
Mm.
And just learned, sort of got into it through yoga. And all my I teach, you know, a bit of breathing at the beginning of my yoga class. I always do 6 minutes of breathing, and everyone, you know, and in one-to-ones, and then with doing coaching, people always, when mentioning meditation, they always say I can't meditate. And it's probably the thing that most people say to me, I can't do, or I don't know how to do it. And so I wanted to, you know, what's the one thing I could really teach people online for nothing? And I thought that's the thing that I could do, you know, give the most value to people for. And I think it's probably one of the most important things for getting rid of stress, which is the biggest killer, and to help you manifest positive thoughts and just have more energy. So the idea for myself was to simplify meditation. Most people go, I can't meditate, because as soon as you close your eyes and don't think about anything, or try not to think about anything, you usually think of loads of stuff. And then you get like almost swarming with thoughts in your head. And then people go, I can't meditate because I'm doing something wrong, because I'm meant to be stilling my mind, and it's actually doing more. And so, well, that's pretty hard to do unless you've got to have something to focus on. And so you focus on your breathing, or you focus on a mantra. You have to have something specific to direct your thoughts to make everything else quiet and down. So I wanted to, demystify meditation, make it less all spiritual and lovey-dovey, and more, for the layman, and that lads can get into it. And the reason why I did 1 minute was because everyone, we're in a busy world. It's all right for a Tibetan monk to spend all day meditating, but in the real world, it doesn't happen. We're stuck for time. So I thought, a minute, no one can tell me you haven't got 1 minute in your day. There's 24 hours in a day, and you can't tell me you can't find 60 seconds to do something. And if you can't find a minute to concentrate on yourself and on your health and well-being, then there's something majorly wrong in your life balance. So that's where it came from. And then I decided another thing was, like, on Instagram, you can't post anything on the main feed for more than a minute. So that helped at the beginning of me trying to whiz everything I was saying into a minute. And so, I just decided to do this 30-day challenge, which actually finished today, on the day that we're recording. And it's just really kicked off, because I think a lot of people that have never meditated before have all done it, and then seen, oh my God, I feel much better. I'm de-stressing. Other people are noticing that I'm calmer. Especially with mums, getting them to, like, with the mantra, one of the ones I said was, I'm free to be myself. Is mums tend never to think about themselves. Their whole day is about their children, about this. So a lot of them actually found that they were crying when they thought of, I'm free to actually think about myself and take some time for myself. So it's been a resounding success.
Okay, well, I'm really, really happy that's working, and I think that now that we've got everybody listening in on this conversation, that we should just take the opportunity to try out one of your 1 minute meditations. And
perfect to me.
Okay, so over to you. Lead the way, and we'll give it 1 minute.
Okay, so first thing we're going to do is just sit up straight, somewhere comfortable. Close your eyes. Place your shoulders over your hips, so you've aligned your body, your spine is nice and straight.
Okay.
And then just begin to think about your breath. Relax your shoulders. Relax your neck. Relax your face. Relax your cheekbones. Relax your cheek. Relax your forehead. Now we're just going to do a counted breath. So we inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Keep that going. Feel your diaphragm as you inhale. Feel your rib cage. Feel your chest. Feel your back with as much oxygen as possible. And then on the exhale, let everything go. Inhale. Fill your lungs with as much air as possible. Exhale, let everything go. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Let everything go. Just keep that going in your head. Just count. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Just silently in your head. And if you are having any thoughts, just think of them as like clouds in the sky. You know the clouds are there. They're up in the sky all the time. But we don't watch them all the time. They just float by. It's the same thing with our thoughts. They're there. We know they're there. But you just let them float past. And if your mind does start wandering, then go back to counting. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. A couple more. And then just come back to the land of the living. Let your breathing go back to normal. Open your eyes and be aware of how you're feeling.
I feel amazing.
How are you feeling, Richard? How are you feeling?
I feel like I'm on a higher vibration or something. It's really, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that was probably with the setting it up. It was probably about 1:30. But
Right.
you can do that any time in the day. And if I'm going for a meeting, I'll do that just before I go in.
Yeah.
Get a little corner, close my eyes, and just get rid of everything that's in my head, and then just be really balanced. And I feel like if I start my day like that, like for 10 minutes, then I've got a really good chance of having a positive day because I'm nice and calm, as opposed to the alarm goes, you get up out of bed, rush down coffee, brush your teeth, get in the shower, run out. Then you're not very calm, and the slightest little thing that goes wrong is going to trigger you off. Yeah. As opposed to I try and start the day like this and carry it on through the day.
Yeah, because I can imagine that on this vibration, you're less reactive and you're more acting from you. You know what I mean? On that vibration.
Yeah, and also, again, if someone, that thing of, when they say count to 10 in an argument or something, so if you just stand there and someone's going mad and you start breathing, then you're sort of in your own little zone, and they can go off on their own one if they want, but you're in your inner peace, shall we say.
Exactly. So, I think that's the whole point there, because when you got your inner peace is that nobody disturbs your inner peace.
Yeah. There's no one. As I say, that's why I try to avoid the news and Donald Trump and people like that.
Yeah.
I don't want his fake news getting in my world and disturbing my inner peace.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, I think I think that this is absolutely a great meditation for getting to your inner peace very quickly and and staying there. So thank you very much for that. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I also just wanted to ask you that how do you think yoga and meditation, all of these, how do you think they've personally affected you in this time that you've shifted?
So it's been it's a good 12, maybe between 12 and 14 years. I don't want to say 13 because that's a bit unlucky. So between 12 and 14 years, okay. I've been doing yoga every day and breathing, and definitely the breathing and the meditation has helped. And I find with yoga, so one of the things for yoga is preparing the body for meditation. That's what it was originally designed for. But it also teaches us some of the poses are really difficult, and awkward, and they're designed to be that. They're designed to put ourselves in challenging positions. And then when you get into that challenging position, if you actually focus on your breathing and relax into the position, after a few breaths, it's not as bad as you first thought. And that's a metaphor for life. Is however bad your problem is, if you actually just breathe and think about it, there's usually a solution, and it's not as bad as you thought it was. So I think I use that in most areas of my life.
I've ever heard someone explain yoga like that, and I think that's a brilliant way to think of applying it to your life. You're put into difficult positions, and that's life, isn't it? And breathing.
Yeah, and another one. See, I love headstands, and I once David Life, who's of Jiva Mukti, founder yoga. I heard him say this in a workshop when we were talking about headstands. He said, why a headstand is so important is because you're upside down, so you start seeing the world from other people's perspective. And I really like thinking of that, because if you can see the world through other people's perspective, then you're never really going to get into an argument.
Absolutely. And
also, I think it was Gandhi who the Dalai Lama, who said, if you have an argument with someone and you waited a day before you responded to it, whatever was bothering you probably wouldn't be bothering you that much by then, because all the emotions taken out of it. So I think yoga and meditation could, I know now I'm getting a little bit spiritual and lovey-dovey, but I genuinely believe it could make the world, if everyone got into it, the world would be a better place.
Yes, I totally agree with you there. Right? I think that's the awakening that's happening at the moment. I think that's the, and it's just so wonderful to see that you're getting involved into that. Your work has gone in this direction. I'm also curious that you said that you're doing retreats now as well. Can you tell me?
Yes, so we're doing. We've got 2 retreats. There's the Elysium retreats, which is the whole Elysium, business is based around doing those retreats on the weekend. That's the whole business model. But we won't be with planning permission or that sort of thing. That won't open until January 2021. Okay. So we're going to run retreats for up to 12 people. We're in 5-star hotels in the UK and abroad. We're in talks at the moment with Glen Eagles and I can't remember the other place. That's rubbish of me. And we're in talks for that. So hopefully the first Elysium one will be around Christmas, New Year, and then going through the summer. And also myself, I'm doing 1-to-1 personal best retreats, which is just, as I said, 1-on-1 or couples, which I'm running from up here in the Highlands of Scotland, from my base, where I can do people, and they're running all year round, because it only requires myself to organise it, as opposed to a hotel and you've got to book everything in advance and blah 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 blah.
So how do people, if they want to find out more information about your retreats, how could can they go to your website, or do they have to?
The easiest way is either to email me at steve@steveagyei.com, which is steve@steveagyei.com. Or my website is the same thing, steveagyei.com, steveagyei.com. and there is an Elysium Clubs website, but the best website where you get everything is mine.
Before we round up, I'm just curious as to know what, because with such a person as you, I'd love to know what your life mission is, or your soul mission, on a spiritual level.
My life mission is to improve the health, happiness, and well-being of 10 million people.
Okay.
My business goal is for Elysium to be the world's leading global luxury lifestyle, fitness, and well-being brand.
Mm-hmm.
And on a personal note, my sort of legacy, I would like to be known as the Steve Jobs of the health, fitness, and well-being industry.
Okay. Well, I would like to add to that I think that 10 million is a bit of a low number. I think you should go to 1 billion.
Yeah, I like being challenged, and 1 billion. There's never say never. I think I like to do things in stages. So
Right.
10 million. If I get to 10 million, then I definitely would look at 1 billion. And I think,
Right.
and at the moment, my plan sort of the 1 year is to have the Kings Road Fitness Boutique up by 2021, have the Elysium Chowns Mead. And then in the 3-year plan is to have the first Elysium abroad, whether that's Ibiza or Mauritius. And then my last one I would like to have in Ghana, because that's where my father's from. But if we're going on the 10 million, sorry, not 10 million, if we're going on the billion,
you're getting really big then. 10 billion.
If we're going on the billion, then I've got to be looking at hitting China and India to hit those sort of numbers.
Right, okay.
Which India I've already got an affinity with because of yoga, and I do a lot of stuff with cricket. So,
right.
But I've never been to China. But if you're challenging me to go for the billion, then I might have to open my horizons and push myself a bit harder.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic. I think it's been a lovely interview talking with you, and I would very much like to do some follow-up interviews, as things progress through your life, and see how it all progresses over the years, if you're open to that.
That'd be lovely. It's been a wonderful experience. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Well, listen, I thank you very much, and wish you all the best.
Thank you. Namaste.
Okay.